Hi, this is Everetts Watercolors, and you're tuning in to Simply Drawing with Everett. So good evening. And I'm broadcasting around the world on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch. So welcome aboard those that are watching, and give me some comments, some questions during the broadcast, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm in the studio with my wife Gloria tonight.
Hello.
And she'll be monitoring the broadcast and also checking the chat room for me. Okay, now tonight we're going to do some drawing exercise, but we're going to talk about drawing the face, and we're going to start with the profile, the side view. And drawing the face, I think, is very important because it's another opportunity to train your eye to see to draw. And that's basically it, because the drawing the face is like drawing any other object. You look at what you see, and then you draw what you see. That's the basic formula. That's the answer. You draw what you see. So let's go to my close-up board, and I'm going to show you some part of the exercise tonight. Okay, I have a side view here of a young lady, and that's the profile I'm going to start out with. And first of all, just the tools I'm using. I'm going to use the standard number 2 pencil, the yellow pencil, and that's for sighting. That's for measuring the distances and the lengths and so forth. That's all I need is this. I have a 2 HB pencil. I'll be doing some preliminary drawings, and then I'm going to use the Sharpie to darken up my drawing so you can all see exactly what I've done. So that might help you see. All right. And then I've got an eraser here in case you want to eliminate some of the construction lines and things like that. Okay, so let's get started. A couple of things, I did a couple drawings this week using the face, and I found a couple of things that works out best for me, and I thought I'd pass them along. When I started out with this, the first thing you want to do is you want to get a silhouette of the head. You want to get the shape of the head in your mind. And you want to get the shape of the face. And one of the things I found out, we can draw one of those egg shapes, so forth, as you start around on the side of the face. But I did something even a little bit more, what I think is a little bit better to understand. I took a piece of tracing paper, and I drew the outline of the face, of this particular face here. And I started at the chin, went around to the back of the head, over top of the scalp, and back on the forehead. The most important thing was the forehead down to the chin. Okay, so I drew a shape. I drew a skeletal shape of her head. Okay, that's the first thing I did. All right, then I took this diagram that I did, and I transferred it to a piece of drawing paper. And how I did that was I took the sketch that I did on the tracing paper. I made it a little bit darker so I could see it. And then I put my regular drawing paper over top, and I went up next to a window. I didn't have to touch the window. I just went up next to the window, and I could see the shape through the tracing paper. So I took my pencil, and I did a very light outline of that head shape. So that's how I got started. So that's a little thing I would pass on. I'll show you a couple other ones I did tonight using the same technique. So the first thing I want to do, though, is I'm going to, first of all, let's do some basic measurements. The eye to the chin. I'm going to take the pencil, do some sighting. I'll put the eraser on the middle of the eye, the level of the eye level, and I'll take my thumb, and I'm going to place it at the tip of her chin. Okay, and that's what it is right there. That's what I get. All right, now I'm going to go take the eye and move it up to the top of her scalp. And her top of her scalp hits there just about where I made that drawing, right there. The top of her head's about right there. All right. Now, before I leave my direction, though, there's one other direction, one other measurement I want to make. From the corner of the eye, from the outside corner of the eye, right there, put the eraser there, and then measure to the back of the ear. and it hits right on. So those two measurements are very important. The chin and the back of the ear. Okay, so I know I got a pretty good sighting here where I want to start. Now the next thing I got to do is I got to line up. So under her chin, straight line, and then what I want to do is find the top of the head. So the top of the head is about right there. The top of the head is over here. So that makes the center line. The center line through the scalp is right there. Right there. That's the center line. From the top of the head down to the chin. So I'm gonna zero that in. So I drew this in, and I'm going to estimate now. So the construction line is, this is the center line right here. From the tip of the chin to the top of the head. And I can measure that again. I know what that is. Right there. Oop. Putting the thumb on the chin line. The top of the scalp. Now the hair, you forget the hair, you're trying to get the top of the scalp, not the hairline. Okay? And then that line is going to be the same as what I've got on my sketch. There it is right there. There's the chin down here, the chin line up to the top of the scalp. Okay, so I've got that line marked. That's the chin line right here. And the middle of the scalp is over here. Now, remember on the chin, when we did the other, if you do the front view, you get a different view. So the side view is different. So that's the scalp right there. Okay, so halfway up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sight that. So halfway up the chin is the eye. Come over here to my sketch. So, and I take another pencil. So that's the eye line right there. So the eye line is right here. I'll take a couple other measurements. Let's take the nose. Measure the nose. So I'm sighting with a pencil. I'm sighting with a pencil. So I'm going from the chin line up. Find the tip of the nose. Okay. So I go from that same line, that baseline here, and I find I find here the nose line. Okay. Now let's get the mouth. The same idea. Going to the last week we worked from the frontal. We did a typical size of the face, and we did a frontal view. So this is a different way of looking at the face. We're looking at the side view. So we're going from the chin line to the mouth, where the opening of the mouth is. And that's it right there. And we can mark that. So that's the mouth line. So I got the chin, the mouth, I got the tip of the nose, and I got the eye. And I know where the ear is, because the distance from here to the eye from the eye level down to the chin, and I go from the outside edge of the eye to the back of the ear, so I know where that is. So now I've got several key marks. I've got several points here marked. I got the eye, chin, the mouth, the nose. So now I got the shape of the head. I have the general shape of the head, and I have the line for the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the chin, and I got the back of the ear over here. And I've marked those off here. The lines are here, and I've got the mark back here for the back of the ear. So I can go ahead and start drawing in. Now, after I got the sighting done, the sighting just gets me where things are lined up. And generally, when you get the vertical line of the head, the scalp, the other lines are perpendicular. So the eye level is perpendicular, the nose, the mouth, and the chin are all perpendicular to that central axis, which is vertical. Everything else is horizontally located down the face. Okay, so now we're going to look at the photo. We're going to look at the photograph now, and I usually start somewhere right around the eyes because it's the one that's well marked here. Eyes. So the eye, maybe the nose. Let's see. So let's start with the nose. Let's start here from the tip of the nose. The tip of the nose. When I look at her outline, and I can put this. I'll take it. Remind myself what it was. I can put this over again. I can put the outline I drew over her face, and you can see here two prominent things. I got the forehead here on the curve, and I got the curve of the chin right here, and her chin lines follows that curve right there. So those are important. It's everything in between I've got to pick up. So we'll take this. I'll leave this curve here on her face so I can get a reference point. So I got a reference point here and I got a reference point here. So the nose I'm going to take right here, and I'm going to begin out. Curves up, and it goes in this curve here up to her forehead. And then it connects with that circle I just made right there. Now the mouth, you can see, I can see here that the mouth curves in from the nose. It curves in a little bit, and then the lower lip is right here, touches the curve, and there's a little curve here a little toward the chin, inside the chin, and then the chin line comes right around, and the curve of her jaw fits the same line I just drew. Let's take a look at the eyebrow. I go up here and I can see where the forehead is, and the eyebrow runs along here and it goes back past the eye. Now the eye is right on the eye line, so I can come in here, and if I want to measure that real quickly, I go in here and measure the eye. So I go in here with the eye, go in here with my sighting. And the eye is right there from her nose. Make a little mark right there. Okay, so I got the eye marked. So I can mark the eye. I'll go ahead and put the iris in. And I can see where the lower eyelid is there with the lashes, and I see the upper eyelid up here and the lashes. Okay. Now this back, I got the eye, I got the nose, the eyebrow, the face, I got the mouth. Her lips are here. I can put that in. The mouth is right here. Her chin comes around. Now I know where the back of the ear is. Now let's measure where the top of the ear is. The top of the ear, let's look at her picture now. The top of her ear is a little bit above, it's just about equal to her eyebrow. If you look at the picture, the top of the ear equals the eyebrow. So I can go right across here on the eyebrow, and that gives me the top of the ear right there. Now I marked the back of the ear already, it's right there. So I can mark that little curve. Now the bottom of the ear, check at the bottom of the ear. The bottom of the ear, it matches with the tip of the nose. Tip of the nose, the bottom of the ear. So we look at the tip of the nose, come across, and there's the bottom of the ear. And then I can look at the picture now and just rough in. I can just use my sighting, and what I'm doing is now I'm doing a contour. I'm doing a contour drawing of that curve of her ear down to there. Then I can fill in a little bit. I can do some contour drawing here. Now using a contour drawing, you look at the shape and you draw the shape as you see it. And her ear goes around this way, and her ear comes down here. I can put a little detail in there, and it comes around this way, curves this way. Okay. Now let's take a look at the neck now. Let's take a look at the neck, where the neck connects. Where the chin is, from the tip of the chin to where her neck begins is right there. So let's bring that in. From the tip of the chin to where the neck is right there, okay? And it's not a straight line. It comes in, it curves in, it's kind of smooth, and it kind of curves back a little bit toward the center line. Now the back of her head, as you can see here, it slopes. I look at the slope. I look at the slope of the ear. The slope of the ear comes right back. The back of the ear, it slopes down at an angle to the back of her head. So I can use that, and sure enough, there we are. It slopes back. So by sighting different angles, I sighted the edge of the ear to the back of her neck. It's not a straight line. It's got a curve to it. Comes down. All right, so now I'm ready to go ahead and draw it in with Sharpie, so we can see all the lines. So I'm going to put in the forehead. Let's start with the forehead. Smooth line. I'll leave the hairline alone. We'll add the hairline in last. Now I'm looking at the figure again. As I draw this final lines, trying to make any final movements I have. The nose is pretty straight here, and it curves up there to the forehead. Then it comes. She has a small nose, curves around, and it comes down here. I've got the line drawn in for the lips. It comes down, and her upper lip is right here. It's a little smaller than the lower lip. Look her mouth. Then her lower lip beyond, then her chin starts here. It curves on around, and I just follow the curve that I took with the shape of the head. Just follow the curve. It went right on around to. That's far enough on the neck because the jawbone. Now let's go ahead and work on the eyes. I've got the eyes. The upper eyebrow the upper eyelid is right there. The lower eyelid's here. And the iris, part of the eye is right there. And then the eyebrow, I'll put it in very lightly. She has a light hair, so I'll just put it in very light. But I'll put in the mark for her eyebrow. And now let's go ahead and put the ear in. Her ear is shown here, so we'll go ahead. I've already drawn it out in pencil, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it in darker with a Sharpie. And there's the back of the ear right there. And it curves around. Now see, a lot of this is contour drawing. You're just drawing what you see and just looking at the sketch, looking at the shape. So by drawing the shape, we're training ourselves to learn how to see. That's the whole secret of drawing a face. You're just training yourself to see better and to draw what you see better. Okay. And now her neckline, we drew that in. I drew it in with a pencil. Comes down here, and then the back of her neck goes down here. Okay. Now the last thing you put in is the hair. So generally, I just generally follow the shape of the hair. She has long hair, but it starts up here at the top of the brow, and it comes down. She's got a little wave, a small wave to it, and it curls over top of the ear. Curves over the ear and behind. She's got a little ponytail on one side. So, but when you come down here and it droops down behind the ear, and then it falls down behind on her neck. That's the general hairlines right there. And then you can. What I do is just kind of draw a few lines in. Just draw a general shape of the hairline. Now her hair goes above the scalp, so you can kind of allocate that a little bit. The hairline goes above the scalp. But her hair generally follows the shape of her skull, because she has it all twisted down. Okay, all right. So what we've done is that we have taken a photograph, and I've shown you how I did it. I traced it out on a piece of tracing paper and took that and transferred it to a piece of drawing paper. And just by looking at the window, looking at the light through the window, I was able to draw it on the tracing paper. At least enough of it to get the right shape. So I got the shape of the face. I got the shape of the head. Very important to get that contour. What we're trying to do, we're trying to draw a likeness. At the same time, we're also trying to draw the proper shapes. We're trying to see the shapes, draw them, and we're also trying to get a likeness of the particular individual. Now, there is, we're not looking at a perfect example of the drawing that looks exactly like the photograph, but a likeness of the shape of the head and a likeness of the shape and where things are, where the eye, or the mouth, the chin, and where the ear falls, okay, and how the hair falls, and the line of the neck. Posture is very important. She's standing pretty tall, so her posture is pretty straight, up and down. Okay, that's example one. That's a drawing I'm going to do tonight, just taking a photograph and showing you how I started. Now let me show you a couple other things that I've done, just for discussion purposes. Now here's another photograph of a young lady, but her head, now she instead of her head being straight, she's leaning back or looking up. So which is another angle? Well, I try to draw, I did a freehand drawing of her face here. But I was having trouble with the angle and the shape of that nose. I was having trouble with the shape of the ear by doing it freehand. I came pretty close. It came pretty close to that direction. But I went back to my other methodology, and what I did was I drew the shape of her face. I took a piece of tracing paper, and I got her forehead, past her nose out to her chin. I got her chin level, and I got the jaw level, very important. So I got the shape of her skull. That's what I wanted to see. And then I looked at the shape of her head. So her center line now, instead of being like this, is going to be like this, because the center line is where the longest part of the head is. So I come off the chin line here to the middle of the head, and that's the center line right there. That's how the center line is going to fall, between the tip of the chin to the back of the head, right over here. That's the center line of her skull. So that's how I diagnosed this thing. So I went to draw it. I transferred the shape from the tracing paper. I transferred it to another, I put it underneath a piece of paper, just like this, and I drew the general outline of her face. Then I went in and I started measuring the parts of her face. And I found that this was the center line of her head, right here. The center line of her head is right here, right between the ear and the nose, and the tip of her chin is back here. So the way the lines go now is this is the center line, but everything else is parallel. This is the chin line. The bottom of the mouth is here. The other top is here, and then her eye line's up here. So when I drew that in, and then I found the size of the earlobes, I was able to place that in, and I'm going to show you again. I'll measure the eye. I'll go from the tip of her, chin to her eye, and that would match her scalp would come around here, which is what I had. And let's measure this way, from the outside of her eye to the back of her ear. There, it hits it right there. The outside of her eye hits the back of her ear, right there. So that measurement from there to the chin is very important. And that also measures the tilt of the face. So that this angle here is the angle of her face, right here. And the eye falls right down to the edge of the tip of her chin. And it also falls to the edge of her mouth. Those are two other important things. So I was able to draw that using those measurements, and I got a pretty good likeness. Of her face, and I got the angle of the head. That's most important. Okay, so that's another lesson I wanted to show. An angle of the head. The last one I want to show you is I took another different kind of head, and this was a young man, and he was facing this way. He had glasses on, and he had a little bit of his eye, his back eye was showing, but his profile, the nose and the mouth, and the profile of the head was basically there. Just a little bit showed. Well, how do we handle that? I did it the same way. I outlined, I traced the outline of the skull. I got the shape of the skull, and I got some of the hair, because he had long hair, so I got really the shape of the whole head. That's more important, and the edge of the hair. And then I got his neckline, and I got his chin line, which is very important, okay? And the nose. So I got the profile, the eyebrow, the nose, the mouth, the chin, and the back of the head. That's more important, and where the position his head is in. So I took that and transferred. First of all, I did it. I drew it. I did a freehand sketch. And you'll notice here on freehand sketches, just like this one, the head was leaning back. I had the angle wrong because I have his head hanging back. So when I redrew it using this, I took my head scan and drew in the rough shape, and then I went back and did the standard sighting with a pencil, and I got where his ear was located. I got his eye level. I got his chin and mouth. I even drew in the glasses, and I got a pretty good likeness of his face just by doing that. So that one turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that one. Okay, so those are a couple things that I did. Now, a little surprise for you. The last thing I have here to show. This is a picture of me. And the way I took that was I looked at the camera on the computer, and I turned my head to the right and took another picture while I turned my head. So this was a self shot picture. But that's a picture of me taking a profile view. And here's my drawing. This is really a freehand drawing. I really didn't do any tracing or anything on this one. Just a freehand drawing. But I want to show you one thing. It works all the time. From the tip of the chin to the eye line, from the tip of the chin to the eye line, to the corner of the eye, to the back of the ear, tip of the chin to the eye line, from the corner of the eye to the back of the ear is the same. And that's how I drew, and this is a different scale because I drew it freehand. But I did it the same way. When I draw on the face, I measured the chin line, because I didn't do it from the photograph, I did it from my drawing. And I went back and I put it into the corner of the eye, and that showed me where the back of the ear was. Okay, so that's how I located the ear in reference to the eye. Okay, so I'm pretty proud of this one. This one turned out real well. This is a fairly good likeness of my photograph. Okay, that's all my show and tell for tonight, and I'd like to just take you back to the main camera. Okay, that ends today's session on drawing the profile view of the face. And again, it's a good exercise in training your eye to see. You can use several things to measure, and I showed you one way I did it myself, but the best way to do it is take the pencil and do your own sighting. That'll give you an example of exactly where things are located and how big they are, and angles and everything. The thing I did on paper here with the drawing of the skull, to me, was very important, because drawing it freehand, I did several freehands, I kept getting the slightly wrong angle. But by drawing the skull, just drawing the outside line of the skull, that really helped find exactly where the center line was. And that's probably a key. Until you get more experience on how to get that center line from a photograph, that's one way to go. Is just do a general drawing, okay? And to get a likeness. Now, if you're just doing a sketch of a person, then you just draw what you see and you come up with a fairly good example, what I showed you. But if you want to get a better drawing of a good likeness, then tracing that scalp and then sighting in the dimensions with your pencil is the next best step. So, subscribe to my channel and let your friends know that I'll be back here next week on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Simply Drawing with Everett. And I'm on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with Everett's Watercolors. If you're interested in watercolors or know someone, I have a channel on Facebook and so forth. That's at 2 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I'm on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch. So if you have questions or want to get back or want to contact me, or if you want to do a drawing and then you want to put it on my Facebook page, I have a Facebook page here. It's Everett's Watercolors Art Group, and you can post your drawings there. And I can take a look at them and then give you some comments and maybe get some communication going with maybe some things to help you out with. So those are the things I can do for you, and I will see you next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, stay safe and bye for now.